Uh, Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trick Podcast of Joe and GOZO TV. Good morning, guys. How are you? Have you ever maybe been to an event or hosted an event? Maybe you want to host an event that you went to something and it just wasn't that awesome. You know, it just didn't quite hit the mark. On the other hand, maybe you've been to an event and you just looked around and you thought, man, everything is just perfect. So this weekend, I had an event here at my house, and I wanted to share with you 6 tips that I learned on how to put on a very successful event. I thought it was very good. We had a great time, and I want to give you some tips just in case you want to host an event, or maybe you know someone that would like to do something for your church or for your business or maybe for your own company, whatever it may be. And so come into the live stream. Welcome. So nice to have you here. I want to say hello to Mary, to Marcus, to Bobby, to Joel, to Norma. Thank you guys for being here on this beautiful Monday morning here in Long Beach, California from the GOZO studios here. Thankful for you. I know that you have many things to do. So thank you for taking the time to be here. It'll be just a short stream, about 20 to 30 minutes. And by the way, if you just want to maybe do the replay, you can obviously watch this later. You can also go to YouTube, which I find that it's a much easier place to watch replays of videos, and you can check that out as well. You can just look for my name. Or if you want the audio, I often like the audio because the audio just seems to sometimes kind of, it's easier to listen to, right? It's just, there's not a lot of noise and not a lot of things to look at, etc. And so if you want the audio version of this show, just simply go to iTunes and type in my name and you'll find my link, or you can go to my website davidtrigg.com and you can find also the audio there as well. So 6 things. So first, let me tell you kind of what I learned and a little bit of kind of what I did this weekend. So you may know, obviously, I pastor, I sing, I love music, but one of the things that I also enjoy doing is to actually help people in terms of their fear, their guilt, their shame, their anxiety. So I'm actually a certified anxiety mentor. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, but I have gone through a training where I learned a lot of the skills that people need to hear, need to know when it comes to dealing with their own guilt and shame, anxiety, depression. And of course, what I always say to people, if you do have something that is something that you can't resolve, I do recommend going to a therapist, going to a counselor, and obviously, ultimately, there are hotlines for suicide and all the rest. But if you're someone who just wants to learn more about fear and shame, I've been through as I said, the training. I've also been through counseling myself. I've learned a ton. I've been someone who's recovered and is always learning more and more to how to find grace through my own anxiety. And then I've been able to help a lot of people. So thank you, Norma. I'm glad that you can watch me live. Yes, I like tacos, Joel. So what I did this weekend is I hosted an event and we had about 5 people. It was a small group here at my house, and I've done events where we've had 100 people, where we've done a kind of a bigger deal, but this one was designed to be more intimate so that we could talk more. And from the surveys that we did, everyone seemed to really enjoy the intimacy because, as you can imagine, when it comes to opening your soul to people that you don't know, you want to have a safe environment. And so we had a great time, and I can't wait to get into the tips here. But I want to say hello once again to Norma, Teresita. Hello, Teresita. Mary, once again, everyone who's watching live. Thank you guys for being here. And so I want to give you these tips so that you, if you want to host an event, it doesn't have to be mental health. It could be something like fitness, or you want to have a party with your friends. You may want to do something for your creative venture, your music, whatever it may be. Maybe it's someone that you know that hosts parties to sell product, whatever it may be. I want to give you these 6 tips. Hopefully they will help you. So number 1, here's this, the first of 6 tips that I recommend just from my own experience hosting a couple of these events. Number 1 is authenticity is key. The authenticity, especially of you as the host, is crucial. And the reason why is because there are a ton of events these days. You can go, I've been to so many events, whether it's church related or business or media. There are a ton of events, and pretty much all of them are awesome. They're very cheap, they're free, they give you stuff, gifts, whatever. But the thing that I don't often see in most of these events is actual authenticity. They may have kind of a planned moment where people tell their stories. You know how people always tell their stories, but everything is just kind of canned and planned ahead of time, which is not a bad thing. But when I talk about authenticity, I'm talking about you as a host bringing your heart into it, actually telling your story, even some of the vulnerable, unplanned things. And again, I'm not talking about being completely off the cuff. I do believe that you have to plan. But when you as a host or as a hostess are authentic and you are there for people and you are saying to them things like this, you may say, I've been looking forward to this day and I'm glad it's finally here. You could say something as simple as, it's been a long day. I'm sure you, like me, you're feeling all over the place, but isn't it great that we're finally together? You can just acknowledge the fact that you've been busy all week long and that you've been stressing out, but now that you're finally here, you're looking forward to spending time together. Those brief things, somewhere along the line, I would say even maybe in the first few minutes of your event, are very important. So that's what I did. I told them, as they were coming in, that it was hot and that I was so thankful that they were here. Obviously, I was asking them questions as people walked in. And then when I actually started my presentation, I had a slide that literally says my story. And that story is something that I have worked on before. And I do recommend that you work on your story ahead of time, that it is planned. I'm not against planning. But even as the event went by, maybe it was the second session. We had 3 sessions. The second session, I told them something that I am very aware of. It's something just in my own life. But I have to say it was an unplanned moment. Even though I at times have shied away from that story that I told, and I won't tell you the story now. You'll have to come to one of my events. Every time that I do share it, I feel like there's power. And so I walked them through that, etc., and it really created a wonderful, authentic experience. And guess what? One of the members of the group actually began to tear up when he began to tell his own story. Because the reason why it's important to be authentic is because people can relate to your story more than to your content. Content is awesome. But when I tell you, for example, even here, that today it's been a crazy day, that last night my poor dog got sprayed by a skunk, just things like that, or that yesterday was a long day at church, awesome but long. What happens? Yeah, some people will begin to want to fix it. And so please don't fix any problems. I'm not asking you to fix anything. But most people will actually think of their own story and they'll say, man, I feel exactly the same way, because all of us have those things in common. So number 1 is be authentic. Number 2 is create a safe environment. So when you have an event, most of us think about the logistics, right? You want it to be organized. You want it to be done well. You want everything to be in the right place. If you've ever hosted an event, I'm sure you can relate to this, right? By the way, if you've ever hosted an event, leave me a comment below and give me a thumbs up. If you've ever been to an event that's been awesome, maybe hasn't been awesome, but if you have gone to an awesome event, give me a thumbs up. If you've ever hosted an event, something with your friends, with your church, with maybe a business or a nonprofit, leave me a thumbs below and say, yes, I have, so that you can kind of think along with me. So back to the point number 2, create a safe environment. So when you're putting an event together, it's important to have the logistics down, and that's actually number 3. But I think that even above the logistics, you have to create an environment that is safe for people. And it doesn't have to be just an event that is about therapy or about your feelings. Even if it's something on, you're selling Tupperware, you're selling your latest candles or whatever it may be, you want people to feel at peace, at home. So now, the way that I did this together with my family, first, my wife was amazing, as you can imagine. She helped me with the snacks and with coffee. She ran out and got some juice, some bagels. And so that was just comfortable because, we had a lot of young people primarily in their 20s and 30s. And young people, they wake up late and they just rushed over here. And so I was just thankful. And so I had breakfast basically for them, just did some little things. Second, we also turn on the AC, just simple things like that because it was a warm morning. And so that made the room feel comfortable. Third, we set up the couches. Yeah, we did have couches. And yes, it was a counseling event. We set up the couches in a kind of semicircle format. It was intimate, but not like face to face and trying to force a relationship. It was just comfortable enough. The room was just my living room. And that created a intimate yet safe kind of personal space kind of thing. Fourth, we did it in our front room where there's natural sunshine. We have some curtains that are white and kind of sheer, and the wind was just coming in. We opened our windows because even though it was warm, it cooled off eventually. And so all of those things created a safe environment. And we had a survey at the end, and people literally mentioned that. I asked them, how was the environment? And I didn't ask them to say the curtains or the couches, but guess what? They wrote those things down, how much it meant to them to feel comfortable. So when you're putting on an event, make sure that you are helping people feel at home. You might want to think about the temperature, about the lighting. You may want to think about what you're wearing, the colors of the room. That's very important. People these days, they're not just looking for something on their left brain, content. I know some of you are very left brain and you just want, give me the facts, right? But if you're inviting someone into your home especially, or into an environment where you want to have something more authentic, you need to think about the colors. Think about what you're wearing. Think about your smile. It's not just about you working hard and making sure that the house is clean. Gone are the days where that is everything to people. Now, because people are so stressed out and there are so many events and options, people want to feel good. They want to feel like you have been waiting for them, that you care, that your attitude and the room, the vibe is just for them. Haven't you ever gone to an event? And that's why I was asking that question earlier. The question of the day is, tell me an event that you went to that you thought was awesome. So maybe put the name of the event or just say yes. And so think of the events that you have loved the most. You probably think the content was great, but what was second to that, if not even maybe first? It's how you felt. Did you feel welcome? Did you feel waited for? Did you feel loved, accepted? I mean, all of these very personal things, we all want them. So make sure that you take care of that by the colors, what you're wearing, by the music that you play, by the smile, people at the front door, people at, maybe if it's in your house, just people maybe even outside saying hello, maybe a balloon, like a birthday party, a balloon that says welcome. So what I did is I had on my slides, a slide that just said on my TV, a slide that just said, welcome, I'm so glad that you're here. And then I had a little thing that says, today I will choose GOZO, choose joy. So that's very important. So number 3, we're talking about 6 tips that I learned when I hosted my first live event here in my GOZO studio. So in case you want to do the same. Number 3 is have a plan, a system, something that you're going to follow. So it's not just about the feelings. You do have to have a plan. I don't believe in just sort of going off the cuff. And my guess is that most of you are planners, right? And so this is where you guys can really shine. You want to have a plan, a schedule. I don't recommend that you have it so tight that you're stressed out by the schedule. But having a plan, having something that you think through ahead of time, it's very important for people to feel like they know where you're going, how long is this going to take, what are we going to do? And so, because as you know, people just are asking all these questions, right? So what I did is just that morning, I just woke up a little early Saturday morning, and I put together my slideshow. And so I had about just 10 slides. That's the general rule, 10 slides, no more, because each slide takes about a minute. And so 10 slides, 10 minutes is the average rule of thumb, just like a TED Talk, 20 slides, 20 minutes. And so sometimes each slide may take 2 minutes. So you have to know yourself. I'm a talker, so to me, less slides is better. So you need to know yourself. But have slides is what I did. And so I woke up and put together some slides and just kind of walked people through it. I plugged in my computer through Apple TV to my big screen. And then I actually, I'm a techie. You don't have to be a techie, but I plugged in my phone to the TV so I could just swipe like this on my phone and the slides were just going left and right. And if you're not a techie, then you just keep it simple. You might just have a whiteboard. You might want to have maybe something that you hand out. You don't have to have a big technological production. I love technology. I have the gear, and so I go that route. And I do think that you want to have some visual aid because people, not only are they visual, but it reminds them of what they learned. The statistics are that people remember 80% of what they write, whereas they only remember 20% of what they hear. So I also, to create kind of this planned environment, I also gave them notepads. I wish I had it. I actually have some next door. I bought some special pens for them. I bought some gum, and this maybe goes into the next one about special treats. We'll save some of these for the next one. But as far as the planning, so as I said, I had a schedule. So the first slide had a welcome slide. The second one had the schedule for today. And then the third one was who is David Trigg. So plan ahead, send invitations. We'll talk about marketing maybe at a different stream. But obviously I marketed, I called people. If people, some people showed up late, we had 2 cancellations. If you have a plan, you're able to adjust your plan. But if you are someone who's very disorganized, you may want to have someone that helps you. Maybe just spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes ahead of time. If you are very organized, my advice is keep it simple. Don't over-organize. Don't overdo it. Because you, at the end of the day, if you want to be able to have peace and to be a host that is actually there for the people, not worrying about the slides or about your microphone or whatever. So that's number 3. So let me know if these are helping you. Hopefully these are things that are helping you to think through your own event or maybe improve on the events that you've done. So that's number 3. Number 4, give them special treats. But I want to say, by the way, welcome to Gary and to Tommy. Thank you guys for being here. So nice to see you. Number 4 is give people special treats. And so what I mean by that is when you host an event, whatever it may be, people have taken time out of their day to be with you, to drive, to get ready, to get their kids dressed up, whatever it may be. And so, yeah, obviously you're giving them great content, you're creating a great environment, but there's nothing like going above and beyond and giving people special treats. So I recommend that you go above and beyond just the regular stuff. Take a few minutes to think through, what can I give these people besides the food and besides the content that goes the extra mile, that can show people that you really care. So in my case, when I hosted the event, as I said, we gave people notepads. Nothing expensive, nothing crazy, but just a simple notepad. It wasn't too big. It wasn't anything too expensive, as I said, nothing that you expected people to somehow pour out their hearts and fill it in and go crazy, because not everyone likes to write. I gave them a pen. I bought them some gum. This is something that I learned from my friend Cliff Ravenscraft, who also hosts a show like this. And when he hosts events, he normally provides dinner, and it's an overnight kind of a weekend thing. And so he mentions that people are always looking for gum, or they feel awkward with their breath or their breath mints, or they kind of, don't want to offend anyone. And so he said that instead of all that, he just bought everybody gum, and people loved it. So guess what? I did the same thing. And it was so awesome because people loved it. People were just opening the little tray of breath mints and just taking one. And they were just feeling all right, especially after our little lunch, or it was more like breakfast that we had. So think about what are the special treats that you can get for people. Now, my ultimate special treat that I did at the event was what I call a GOZO lunch pail. So I went to the store. I did all this that morning. 8 a.m. I got up and just went and got a few things, got back here by 9, and boom. So I went and got just a lunch pail, lunch box. that had all the little GOZO emojis on it. Have you seen those at the store? They're just so fun. And you know, obviously my whole thing here is joy. And so it's very important to me. And so we did a raffle. So everyone put their names in this cup. We picked a winner, and one of the girls that came won a free GOZO lunch pail. And it was just awesome. And guess what? She was telling us later that we're talking about love languages, that her love language, guess what it is? Gifts. So maybe you know the love languages. There are different things that people like. And I mean, how awesome was that? That her love language is gifts, and she got a gift. And so I'm telling you, that person will never forget the event. The content may have been all right. The bagels maybe weren't that great, but she will never forget that gift. So remember to give people special treats and think through the love languages. Maybe it's you're helping someone. It's a gift. Maybe it's words of affirmation. It could be that you're spending time with them. It could be that you are maybe, just giving a warm handshake, and the whole touch thing is very important. So think through how can you give people special treats. So that is number 4. So these are the 6 tips that I learned in hosting an event. I've done a couple of these large ones, and then I just had a smaller one this week. And so I want to just say hello really quick to the people that are checking out the stream. Mary again, Marcus, Bobby, Joel, welcome, Norma, Joel Tacos, Norma again, Teresita, Fred, Amy, Norma, Colors Blues, yes, very important, Gary, Tommy, Soccer, Ofi, and Claudia. Thank you guys for being here. So now that is the 4th tip. So the 5th tip, this is very important. It's enjoy the people. Have fun with the people that you have at your house or at your event. I've been to many weddings and to many church parties and to many, media events or conferences or church conferences. I've been to a million things. Like you, we've all gone to a million events, right? And have you ever noticed how sometimes you wonder if people even like you? You're there and you got all dressed up, and maybe you even paid some money, and maybe you drove for forever, and now there you are, and yeah, the food is okay, and the tables are nice, and whatever, the music is good, but you feel like nobody likes you. The reason why you often feel that way is because the host and maybe the team isn't really enjoying the people. And so one of the things that is very important for you is to make sure that you enjoy the people. You don't have to do everything yourself, but it could be that you simply rally your team. If you have, maybe it's just your husband, your wife, or your kids or whatever, or maybe you have someone who's helping you. Just bring them together and say, hey, put all the food away, put all the tech stuff away, turn off the computer, and let's just pray. Let's talk about loving people. Because as they say, people will always forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Let me say it again. People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And if I can be honest, I can be a pretty tense guy, not tense, a pretty intense guy is what I mean to say. And I have to constantly work on just slowing down, on just being there, as I call it, in the moment, and literally looking at people in the eye and saying, thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you came. I hope that your drive was great. And you don't have to be Mother Teresa. You don't have to, again, do everything yourself, but take that time to say hello to people, whether you are a church leader or an event at home, whatever it may be, even if it's not your personality type, take those 2-3 seconds to make people feel warm, give them a warm handshake, enjoy the people, have fun with them. So one of the things that I did at an event that I did about a couple of years ago, 3 years ago or so, is at the end of this event, we had over 100 people in this big room. Guess what we did? We played the Happy song by Pharrell. Remember? Remember that song? Oh man, I love that song. I mean, who put a thumbs up if you love that song, right? Everybody loves that song. And so not only did we dance to this song for like 45 minutes, it felt like we had the thing playing at the end of the event, but then I brought beach balls. I had one of my assistants put like 4 or 5 beach balls in a bag. And then at the end, I had him. He's a young guy, I remember from USC. He came up and I said, okay, now And he opened this black bag that nobody knew what was in it. And he threw all these beach balls, and people that were out there, maybe, not everyone stuck around. Some of them left, but like 50% of the people stuck around, and they were just going crazy, dancing, talking, the beach balls in the air. The reason why most of them left, because guess what? Outside we had a taco truck, so that's why everybody jetted out of there. But those that stuck around were playing with the beach balls, and I'm telling you, it's been 3 years, 4 years since that event, and personally, that's the one thing I remember the most because it was fun. It made me feel GOZO. It made me feel joy. It made me feel alive, like I was just having a good time, even though it was an event about overcoming your fears, etc. So it doesn't have to be crazy, but think through what can you do to create a sense of joy. Now, you might be thinking, man, that's a lot of planning. It really wasn't. I mean, I probably spent maybe in total, maybe 2-3 hours planning the event because, once you kind of have been around the block a few times, you know how events are, the good events versus the bad ones. And at the same time, some things weren't perfect. And so we'll get to that here in a second, how I've learned from these events and how to make them better. So that is number 5. Have fun together. I hope these are helping you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for Felix and for Soccer, Ofi, for being here. So the last one, these are 6 steps on how to host an awesome event, a successful event, like I just had this last weekend. And the last one is remember to ask them for feedback. Do a survey and ask the attendants for feedback right there on the spot. This is something that I've also learned from a lot of events that I've been to. And some of them do it, like, okay, call this number or maybe go to this link. And I never do. But the best events that I have been to have asked me for feedback right there, just on a piece of paper. Yeah, it could be an email, but I think I want something written down. I literally want people to just write their thoughts in the moment. They could say, what I did is I typed up a little survey. It's just 5 questions, just on one page. I passed it out to everyone. The music was still playing. It was kind of a fun thing. It wasn't anything serious. And then I just asked them the typical questions. What did you like most? What content hit you the most intimate personally? What did you think of the environment? What did you think of the people? Did you feel comfortable? And then, of course, what can we do to improve? And then would you recommend this to anyone else? And then here's a key one that I recommend is, can I share these comments anonymously with online on social media with your permission? Do I have your permission to, as well as do I have your permission to post pictures from the event? And so that is a very important thing so that people feel like they can write, but they know that it may be online. Now, if people say, no, I'd rather it just be between us, and that's fine. They can just check no or whatever. But the survey and the feedback is huge. Now, what did I learn from the feedback? A ton of things. First, I learned that people really love the atmosphere. They really loved, as I was saying, literally the couches, the curtains, the natural light. They enjoyed, of course, the content. They enjoyed that people were honest and open, that they could relate to people in the room. They said that they also loved, my wife, Rochelle, just what a great, welcoming person she is, how she's the same at church as here at the house. And so I'm going to wait here a second for the camera to reset. Just take a few seconds. There we go. We're back. And so even those interpersonal things were so positive because people, they always wonder, are you here to sell me something? Are you here to trick me? Are you here to save me, to convert me, to whatever, right? And instead, when you break that ice and people see that you're just a normal human being with flaws and bumps, and we sweat, and I was tearing up at one point, and just normal things, people feel more connected. And so the survey even had some of those things. Some of the things that people said they wanted more of is we had a time of worship and of meditation, prayer. People wanted that to be longer. How awesome, I thought. Wow, I never would have thought of that. Of course, we did that, and it took like maybe 10 minutes, but people maybe wanted it to be longer. Another person said that it would be nice to just simply state the hours as we did them, from 10 to 1, 3 hours, because I said it was 2, And it was more 3 because people showed up late, and so we had to go a little later. But in some ways, I agree with that because, people have busy lives, and maybe some had to leave right at noon or 12:30. And so maybe it's best just thinking it through. If I do start late because people showed up late, maybe to still cut it off when I said, or to plan for a longer event, etc. So in your case, think through how to ask people for feedback. It could be a church event or something in a conference room or at work or for your nonprofit or for your media company, your entrepreneurial thing. Maybe you're selling something. Make sure that you ask them for how they felt, how it went for them. Ask them for permission to post those comments on social media, on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Ask them for permission to post pictures. It just simply makes everything run smoothly, and everything hopefully will be awesome. So I hope that you are thinking and your mind is just going, thinking, man, I think I need to implement some of those things. Give me your thoughts. Do you have any questions or comments? Or is there anything that you are thinking that you have done that perhaps others can learn from here in this community? So I want to again say hello to Felix, to Claudia, to Adrian. So glad, guys, to have you here on this live stream on this beautiful Monday morning here, just helping people to find their way and to really live a life of joy and a life of gozo. So as I said, I had a great event. We're going to have a couple more this summer. We're actually going to have one this weekend that's more on the online aspect of things and how to do online shows and podcasting. It's called Grow Online. So if you're interested in that, you can go to lifeofgozo.com/grow online. And then the third one that we're going to do this summer, we have 3, is going to be on communication. And so one of the things that I love is to help people learn how to speak in front of others. They say that talking or speaking is people's number one fear. I've never been afraid of speaking, and I've learned a lot along the way on how to actually speak well, whether it's a short thing, whether it's through music, or whether it's a whole 30-minute talk or a sermon. And so regardless of whether you are a speaker or not, all of us are constantly having to learn how to speak in front of a camera, or maybe how to say something in a meeting or say something on a stage. This workshop hopefully will help you accomplish some of those things and grow. So that one is at lifeofgozo.com/communication, and you can check that out. lifeofgozo.com/communication, and you can check that out. So that is all that I had for you, my dear friend. I have here my closing music. Let me know if this has helped you. Give me a thumbs up. Give me some hearts. Let me know if this content has helped you. I'm sure it has. I want to just thank you and invite you back on Friday. I'm here twice a week, on Monday mornings at 9, although today I got a late start. As I said, my poor dog got bitten or something, sprayed by a skunk, and so it's been quite the ordeal for her. So I kind of got a late start. Plus, I have to go now and take care of business. But I'm here Mondays at 9 and Fridays at 9 en español. So if you have a friend, I think I have it up here right on the right. If you have a friend who hablas español, or you perhaps enjoy español más que inglés, come back here on Friday this week, 9 a.m. so that we can do this whole show en español called Vida Gozo with David Trigg. Thank you again, everybody, for your awesome support. Thank you for taking the time. I know, as I said, that you have a very busy schedule. So thank you for taking the time to be here on GOZO TV, Mondays at 9 a.m. in English, Fridays at 9 en español. And if you want to go and listen to the audio and maybe review this, because Facebook is really terrible at kind of giving you access, or not access, but going back and watching videos, you can't find them. Go to my YouTube page. At the end of this show, I'll give you some links. Or I personally love podcasting more than anything. So go to my podcast page. You can just go again. I'll show you a link here in a second. Or just go to iTunes and just click for David Trigg, and you will see my podcast, which will give you all this content, but just audio. So you can just listen to it while you're in the car, or while you're at the gym, or you're maybe at home making dinner or whatever, or in bed late at night, like I'm often am, listening to some awesome content. Thank you again, everybody. Have a great rest of this day. Have a great rest of this week. Have a great rest of this month. And I will see you next time. Adios. See you later, guys.